I recently played a number of games that I haven't had a chance to talk about, and so I want to do this video to sort of round up all of them and talk about a little bit of each one and see if any of it is your jam or jives with you. I think there's a lot of different impressions. I will say I have not beaten any of these games. These are all games I've either played the demo of because they're not out yet, or I've spent a couple hours and got a kind of a feel for. So this is generally speaking, and impressions of each of these games. So let's get started. And I got my notes over here, so I'm going to be referring to them as we go through this. But I kind of want to start with a more energetic note. Dead as Disco. I'm sure you've seen a lot of TikToks or reels or shorts about this, but it's a game by Brain Jar Games, and it's kind of what's the right word? It's very much like you enter kind of a disco arena or space or whatever, and it's a beat 'em up mixed with martial arts set to music, and it's a rhythm game, and I feel like the combat that you get to mash out to, whether you're kicking, punching, or doing all sorts of different martial arts or hand to foot, fist to foot style. Combos, but it's all synced to the music. Whatever you hit, it'll go to whatever track is playing. And it is very much a rhythm game kind of fused. The combat reminds me of like Arkham Asylum or just any of the Arkham games where you can kind of chain things if someone's attacking you from afar and there you could counter it. You just hit counter and you'll zoom over there and counter and you can chain it up and it feels good. And there's tons of songs that this game offers. There's also tons of songs that I've seen, and I don't know quite how it is or isn't sanctioned, so I won't speak to that part of it, but I've seen it where people are playing like, songs that I can't, share here. I don't want to get a copyright strike or anything, but you can play it to popular songs. I've played it to like Mortal Kombat once before and a bunch of other songs, like I think, similar to how like Beat Saber operates. I think this game, Dead as Disco, operates, and it's a very fun rhythm game. Feels very arcadey. I don't really, in the time I spent with it, I didn't really spend too much time as in terms of whatever the story is. It is in early access. It is out now. You could purchase it and start playing in full blown bloom. It came out earlier in May. And there's a bunch of I guess there's even like a streamer pack for it, but it syncs seamlessly to soundtracks and everything. So really dig this one. It's a fun time. It's easy to jump in, jump out, and just get some musical kind of like I always love like in movies like Scott Pilgrim or Shaun of the Dead or a lot of Edgar Wright films, but a lot of other films too, where like the music is set to the combat. And I'm always finding videos, AMVs, where they just take the Mortal Kombat Techno Syndrome song and just jam out to it. So that is Dead as Disco by Brain Jar Games, out in early access. All right, so next up we have PinKeep. This is a game that you can demo now. It's not out yet. Its planned release is 2026. It's by Okamotive, and it's on PC, and it's a pinball deck building roguelike. And it's essentially like an arena. It's got this weird framework. I dig it a lot. I didn't know what to think of it at first. The visuals kind of grabbed me. It was kind of got a bit of a cartoony look to it. That was very fun and fantastical because it's got a pinball arena, but it's in the shape or liking of like an environment, like just a bunch of forests, boulders, and caves, and merchants and stuff. And you just play pinball within that confines. And I wasn't quite sure what that was, but then as I played, the larger game is like, it's framed kind of like, if you're familiar with Slay the Spire, it's kind of got like this adventure tree where you're like, okay, go to the next combat, or do you want to go to a rest stop or whatever with your group. And then every time you go into one of those, it's an encounter. And the encounters are these pinball arenas, and you got your flippers, and you got a few cards, and the cards are pieces you can put on this blank canvas that is your pinball board. So you can put bumpers, but the bumpers are wells, or you could put attack outposts, and those are like your kind of ramps that you could kind of angle, and if you hit it, ricochets off of it. And so as you hit more things, and as you hit the environment, you gather resources to then build. And so it kind of has like this tower defense-y look and feel to it. And then if you hit merchants, you can access additional cards that you can get for that specific encounter. And then enemies are coming. And so the enemies are coming, and there's only so many in a given match. And so once you wipe them all out, then you'll be like, okay, you survived however much damage you may have taken or gold you may have gathered, and you go to the next one. And it progressively gets harder. In the demo, I did like 4 or 5 of these, and each one progressively got more involved and difficult. And there is a real time, so like you're doing left and right bumper. I was using mouse and keyboard, and A and D were the left and right mouse click. There's infinite amount of pinballs. You don't have to worry about like lives or anything in that sense, but it's like a tower defense where as these enemies are coming from the back end forward, you don't want them to reach the flippers at the bottom. That's where you as a character take damage. That's your base, and you're using these flippers to fend them off. It's fun. I really think it's a fun mechanic, like a twist or subversion of like what is pinball. I think there's fun and nuanced ways to incorporate pinball and new different things, and it does it pretty well. Like as you start learning how it goes, I was really digging it. And I didn't talk about this part, but like as you're doing this, you can slow-mo. So if you want to take a moment, like the pinball can ricochet so fast sometimes that you're like, okay, wait, I want to do something. You can actually interact with the pinball's trajectory with your mouse clicker and slow-mo bullet time it, and then hover your mouse over it and flick it in a different direction to try to be like, I really want to target that person or that thing or whatever it is. But that's on a cooldown. You can't just do that infinitely. Like you're like, oh, I got to do this once, and then I got to wait till it reloads. So that is PinKeep, a really fun pinball deck building game. Again, there's a demo out. That's what I played. I recommend you add this to your wish list. By the way, any of these games, I would say if it's your fancy, it's your jam, wishlist it. All of these I played on Steam, and so just prefacing on that point too, but wishlisting goes a long way for devs, and all of these are sort of, for the most part, indie games, and I just want to take a minute to emphasize that. So let's go to the next one. This one is Relooted by Nia Makup. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I apologize if I'm not. This is an interesting one. So the premise is you reclaim real African artifacts from Western museums in this African futuristic heist game. And so you recruit team members, you have planned escape routes, and then you kind of go through this platforming adventure thing. The game is out. This game released earlier in February this year. It is really interesting. I dug the concept of this. It's a side kind of not side scrolling. I would say like it's a 2D, not 2D. It's 3D. It's from left to right. It's a platformer in its own way, but you're planning out your plan of attack to be like, okay, I got to go through the level this way. I've scoped it out. My team and I have looked at what the areas, what things I'm trying to go for, what traps I got to look out for. And then you are like, okay, enact plan, go. And you run through the level in a platformer kind of way. But it has puzzling elements. And so I like that. And I like how it contextualizes a lot of that. How it blends like the cultural aspect of it. Like it's taking real African artifacts and incorporates that cultural aspect to it in a way that's intelligently designed into the game's mechanics and into the premise of the game. I think it's a real cool jam. It was at Summer Games Fest last year, and I remember trying a demo of it there. It was a lot of fun. It felt very fluid. The movement was good. You can go about a heist in any number of ways, and I think that's a really fun and impressive mechanic that it's got set up for it. Really showcased a lot of different areas and award-winning. If any of this sounds like your jam, I'd really recommend it. The full game's out now. Okay, so the next one we got. This one is Don't Lose Aggro by Oren Koren. This one has come out in early access. One of my prior videos about early access, this was one of the games that was kind of citing. But there's a demo as well, and the full game, or the early access of this game is out. And this one is you're protecting your team. It takes the premise of like an MMO where you have a tank class, and what a tank is supposed to do. Their role is to not to gather aggro, to aggro all the enemies, so that no one else in their team is taking any damage, so that they can cast spells, debuff, whatever they need to do. This one is taking it into a single player kind of game, in a fun kind of roguelike kind of action adventure, but it reminded me in some ways lightly of like a Vampire Survivor, because as you're aggroing, you're trying to survive, and then as you go further and further, you level, you get these like roguelike, the hey, pick which new buff you want or new ability you want, and then you keep going from there. It's a really cool premise. I really had a good time with the early access of it. It lets you play a little bit of it, and like you get the idea of it, but it's surprising how well it works, because you're essentially doing like an escort mission of one specific character, at least in what I played. You're like, you have your mage there with you, and you're like, okay, get across this dungeon, and it feels like a World of Warcraft dungeon. It has the aesthetic that reminds you or likens you to those WoW-esque kind of games, or those just general MMO games. But you being this tank, you get all the things that are like typical of a tank type of class, where you taunt them, you buff yourself, you do AoE, buffs or debuffs to stuff, and it's very easy to jump in, jump out, and I like that about it. But I thought it was just a cool new way of looking at what it means to take a mechanic that from a different genre and like put it into this space and be like, now play it as a single player game where you're just this one class. Like, what would it look like to do a mage type of game where it's like, take one role of an MMO and like really isolate it? And I think something about what the tank does is such a interesting thing to be like, hey, this is a game in and of itself, to be a tank and what it takes to be a tank. So that is Don't Lose Aggro. Definitely a fun one. Okay, so this one was a bit bombastic. Tamashika. If this is a game, once you look it up, you'll be like, okay, this stands out. It pops. It's such a vibrant like artwork and cover. It's developed by Quick Tequila. The full game is out right now on Steam, and it is a flow state. It is just like you're on a rail. It reminded me of like a lot of VR games, shooting games, but essentially you're on this rail and you're just like go forward and react and respond and time your gunshots or your blade attacks, but like you're going from a corridor to a corridor in this very visually bombastic kind of like cartoony look that looks like a bit of an acid trip, but it grabs you really. Like you cannot like play this like with half your attention. You are fully attentive, which is interesting and fun in its own right, because I think so many games that I kind of get used to with stuff, it's like I'm playing or I'm listening to something, but I was like so attentive with this, and it's so much going on at once. It really forces you to act in the moment, and be very Twitch-like with your reactions. Very bite-sized. This is like see how long you can go kind of game. So if the vibrant colors aren't your jam, or if the speed or velocity of which this game operates isn't your jam, might not be for you. This was a fun little thing to be like, whoa, that was very different. That was like a very arcadey kind of corridor shooting style thing. And I really like, the biggest thing for me was like how cool the hand-drawn animations were. It looked like something you would see on like a Newgrounds or like a old school, like a Flash website or something, but done with a cranked up polish and amazing. Like the music is very much fitting of the acid trip that this game feels like. So that is Tamashika. All right, in a very different tone, I'm going to go to another game where I've played a bit of, and it's available in full. This is taking the world of Moomintroll, and this is the game Moomintroll Winter's Warmth. It came out earlier, late April, by Hyper Games. And this game, it's Moomintroll is like this franchise or IP that's like a cartoon in Europe, and the Moomin story by Tove Jansson. You're joined by this like kind of like white bear-like thing, Moomintroll himself, and you're kind of in this winter kind of wonderland journey. And it's very much a cozy adventure game. I usually think of cozy games of like, I don't know, you're a farm simulator or something, but it's like a storybook like story game. I really dug like the tone, or like it feels like a kid's book kind of just brought to life, and it's very comforting and just chill, and like you can just kind of roam around. It looks like it's a hand-drawn type game, and like it's enticed me is the best thing I could say about it. I really have always been kind of like, I keep seeing Moomintrolls everywhere, like whether it's in GIFs or memes or just in stores, just like it's almost like the Hello Kitty or the other, like just so many of the, I forget what they're called, but like there's like the frog and the cat, I don't know, but it's like something that you see in a lot of like cute shops and stuff. And Moomintroll is apparently like a big franchise name in like the cute kidsy storybook stuff. I dug how it translated into the game with this. What I played with it was very, very wholesome and very warm, and I'd say it's good for anyone who enjoys that. Also, it's very good for like, hey, you want to play a game with family. It's a very family friendly game. From what I've played thus far, it's a good time. So that's Moomintroll. If that's your jam, this is definitely something to buy or to wish list. Okay, next one we got Soul Quest. This one was by Soulblade Studio and Thomas J. Pereira. It's all like one word for the developer. Indie.io is the publisher. So this one, I don't know quite. I have good and lukewarm thoughts on it. So the good, I'll start with that. The combat and the movement is so fluid. It is such a beautifully animated pixel art kind of like game. Very action packed. Like every weapon, every movement, everything you're doing feels so cool and good. The biggest thing I gotta say is just it felt like I would be more enticed to spend more time with it if I had more reasons to care about some of the things it has me do. And because it just does it so well, but it just felt like I was just doing it to do it and see, like it almost felt like a high score thing of like just keep going, that kind of thing. But it's beautiful, it's well made. Like you see the animations for the movement and motion, you're like, whoa, like this is done to such levels of detail and such speed and like actions just chain up so well, like it's like a fighting game in a lot of ways. Reminds me of like the old school like SNK Capcom kind of stuff in a weird way, and this is like side-scrolling action kind of game. So yeah, it's a good time, but I don't think there was enough for me there to like really sink my teeth into. The game is out. If you want to buy it, it's fully available. It came out early May. So that is Soul Quest. All right, next one we have is Alabaster Dawn. This is by Radical Fish Games. It came out, I should say it didn't come out. The early access has come out right now, and there's also a demo. So if you don't want to, even if the early access isn't for you, there's a demo is available. Came out early May. This is like a 2.5D action RPG from the makers of Crosscode, if you're familiar with that game. Very cool concept. I liked that it's like this world. It builds the lore of this world where you play as like there's a curse, there's like this magic, it kind of harkens to those older like not JRPGs, just older RPGs where there's like a fantasy and protectors of evil and curses and wizards, and you're the elite guard, and what happened, everyone else has gone away, but now you're the only one, and why, and you're trying to figure that out as you save the people that are still around. The combat is probably the thing I love the most of this. It is very much like a 2.5D version of Kingdom Hearts. Very hack and slashy. There's health bars and criticals and things to like avoid and optimize for. But there's a moment, and Devil May Cry in some ways too, of like very fluid, very quick, very kinetic, but you need some strategy. Otherwise you're just gonna like butt heads with a lot of what it's trying to do. There's a lot of legs with this. I think the RPG side of it gave some breadth in what I've played of like, oh, okay, you can expand on certain abilities or preferences. The story's there. I think there's a foundation here for something really strong, and I'm curious as they go through the early access of it, where it lands when it goes to full 1.0. But what it has so far was very fun. Like every room or area or boss fight or puzzle that it had, it was a good time. Like I really enjoyed it. I think it lends itself really well to portable play, because you can just kind of like pop it up, play a little bit, get to a save point, log off. I think it looks very beautiful. I played it on my Steam Deck and in my A1 and Thor a little bit, and it ran amazingly. Very beautiful stuff. Very cool game. And that is Alabaster Dawn, and that is in early access now and demo available. Okay, last game is Enter the Chronosphere. This game came out at the end of May. This one is a fun one and a weird one. Enter the Chronosphere is like, it blends that turn-based real time. It takes something that is like they feel contradictory, and I know a few games have done this. Super Hot is one that I know of that is like very famous for this, of like your move, bullets and everything don't move unless you move. So every time you take a movement, everything moves in kind of like bullet time. This takes that concept, kind of does like a top-down, kind of isometric view to it. And there's like an adventure and everything. I played a few hours of this, and I'm digging what I've been playing so far. It's very cool art style. It's a very cool play style. Each gun, each weapon has its own feel and vibe to it. There's a strategy to how you're navigating through the maps. It feels like a puzzle. It's very bullet hell like, and it's a roguelike too, which is like, it checks boxes for a lot of folks, but I really dig it. It's very clever, and it's got a lot of legs to it. From what I understand, this game is about a 30 to 40 plus hours of general progression overall, and each run can take you like 30 to 45 minutes on average. So I've been having a lot of fun with it and tinkering with it and playing around with like, how do I go through arenas, or what am I doing? It's got the right mixture of like friction and fun and blending of it, and I think a lot of folks would dig it. It's kind of like a little weird, enough weird to like push you, but enough familiar to be like, okay, I kind of know what this is. Yeah, I really dig what it is. Effort Star, published by Joystick Ventures and Game Mirror Games. Yeah, is one of the publishers. But really fun stuff. And sorry, it is in early access. So it is out, but it is in early access. I should preface that. There's a deal going on right now. Hopefully it's still out by the time you check this video out. But really cool stuff. I encourage you to at least take a look. There is no demo, but early access isn't too much. So those are the games I've been playing lately, and what I've been vibing with when I'm not doing like bigger reviews or full game, is that I'm like really sinking my time into fully. I do want to still I like to dabble. And a lot of these games were like either on my radar or games I've wishlisted that I've seen get updated. So I thought it'd be fun to talk about and share a little bit of those. So, and they play great on PC, on your Steam Deck, on portable. I mean, Steam Decks are rare nowadays, but like even on PC, like it runs really, really smoothly. And I think there's something, I mean, I almost want to talk about handhelds in PC space. There's a lot of other alternatives now, more and more. And I think that's something that was initially like a preference thing. Now it's more of a necessity, given how much the Steam Deck prices have gone up. But yeah, if let me know if any of these catch your vibe. If you've tried them, I'd love to hear what you think about any of them. This is kind of a bit of a roundup. I wanted to just shoot out a bunch of thoughts and feelings of what I've been playing lately, and shout out to a spotlight to a lot of games that don't normally get a lot of attention. I think these games go under the radar, and it's like you miss some of that weird fun that you're like, oh my god, I didn't know this existed, I didn't know this was there. So it's really cool. And on a side note, I definitely did want to also mention a moment of gratitude and thanks. I've articulated in like my social posts and stuff, but I recently hit 500 subscribers on YouTube, and that has been a big milestone of mine that I've been chasing this number. The number doesn't outright represent anything in particular. It's just been a goal of mine to hit it as like can I get there? And it's, I guess, just in general, the pursuit of doing better and doing something that brings value, that is informative, that is entertaining, that checks boxes, but contributes to the gaming space, whether it's through my interviews, through these videos of impressions. I work very hard on this. This isn't my main job in any way. This is something I like to do for fun. It's a passion of mine. So I want to do better and I want to improve. And I've received a lot of feedback that's helped me understand what does work, what doesn't work, and try to keep learning. So I'm going to shoot for new targets and keep going. But that was a very heartwarming, and I'm very grateful for those that have followed, that have continued to follow, and have supported me in any way, shape, or form. Whether you've recently joined or you've been around for a minute, I want to continue to deliver something of value to you in this space, in this way. So again, thank you so much. Just a moment of gratitude for that, and I'll catch you on the next save point.